The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Welcome into a special edition of the Sports Stove Football Show presented by Righteous Felon Jerky. And we are recapping round one and a quick preview into what to expect Friday night at the NFL draft. And I just saw online that Green Bay basically doubled its population in today's thing. They have 104,000 plus in population. They had 204,000 at the draft tonight, which is absolutely crazy. So
that local economy is bumping right now too. Like all those local restaurants around the stadium, like this is their Christmas, this is their Black Friday. That is so awesome for them to hear that.
It is amazing. And I'm excited. I got a friend that was up there. I'm excited to talk to them and see what it was like as well. So if you're listening and not watching this, I'm Vince Stover. I'm joined by DJ Stewart. He was on not too long ago talking about the mock draft, and he hosted the Belly Up Sports NFL Draft Show that we just spent the last 3.5-4 hours on. So we are recording this Thursday evening, almost Friday morning. So nonetheless, DJ's here to chat with me as well. Let's start at the top. We'll run through this as quickly as we can because I want to go to bed. So I think at the top, first four picks, player-wise, what we expected, or at least what I expected. We did have the trade, Jacksonville going up to 2 to get Travis Hunter. So we'll discuss that in a second, I guess. But Ward, Hunter, Carter, Campbell, that's kind of what we saw coming for the most part from there. Of those four picks, was there anything that stood out to you, including Jacksonville trading up?
I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit with that one because the rest of it we all kind of had coming. Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be a lethal combination receiver if Trevor Lawrence gets his poop in a group and stays healthy. Like if they could just – that's going to be such a good combo with Liam Cohen coming from Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. He's going to know how to make it work. If they could just stay healthy and Trevor Lawrence could kind of get that click back, it's like he's kind of missed that little bit of – that little something extra that made him the prince that he was. If he could get that back, they could be dangerous in the AFC South because that division stinks.
Yes, it does. And I'm intrigued by this in Jacksonville because I had them taking Genty at 5. I thought, they needed a spark, something good on offense because I actually think their defense isn't that horrible, or at least could be decent. You bring in Liam Cohen. I'm a little confused by that hire. He's not super experienced, especially in the head coaching ranks. He was a college offense coordinator at Kentucky, of all places. He did work, of course, with the Rams and McVay, so that's leading in his favor, and he did well in Tampa as well. So I'm interested to see how that goes. This is also low-hanging fruit, but would the Jaguars consider trading Trevor Lawrence to Cleveland and drafting Shedeur Sanders to pair him up with Travis Hunter?
Can Cleveland afford that? Because Trevor Lawrence is, I think, the third highest paid quarterback in the NFL right now, and then they still have the Deshaun Watson tomfoolery to deal with. So if they can make it work financially, that could be something. Because Trevor Lawrence isn't old by any means, and a change of scenery might help. Granted, Trevor's never played in anywhere that's not freakishly hot. I mean, going from Carolina, being a South Carolina kid, going to Clemson, and then going to Jacksonville, it could see it happening. It would be very weird, but it would be fun. It would be comedy. And if Liam Cohen, though, it'd be like, am I going to be one and done? Are they going to bring in Dion after next year? Like, what's going on here?
Right. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah, it doesn't seem like their Jacksonville fans love Trevor Lawrence, so it wouldn't be the end of the world that way. But, yeah, financially, I'm not sure that would even work. Great points there as well. I love Will Campbell to the Patriots, by the way. I don't understand why he got so much grief from the public. With his arm length and all that kind of stuff. He fits perfectly in New England. He's a great left tackle. Everybody's like, well, maybe he can go to right tackle. Maybe he can slide into guard. I think he could do both, but I think he will be a left tackle, and I think he'll be a pretty darn good one as well.
I think the long arms, if you are someone who wants to use a lot of the punch and just your technique is different, I think if they get into you, the short arms can help because you get a little bit better leverage inside. It's different strokes for different folks, I guess. It's like, oh, you want a taller receiver. Antonio Brown was 5'10" and a quarter, and he's the best receiver in the NFL for 6 years. It's like I think it's technique based, and I think he's going to be just fine. Like you said, I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he blocked half of the edge rushers drafted in the first round, and he held his own. So I think
you ever remember him having a bad game? We were like, oh, he's getting cooked. Like, I just really remember seeing like, oh, what's going on here? Like, Kelvin Banks is awesome. He had one kind of bad game against Georgia, but Georgia does that to everybody.
Right.
Like so I think when we nitpick it too much, it's to the point where we're making fun of his arm length. And I'm like,
I agree.
no.
Cleveland down to 5. They get Mason Graham, the top D tackle in the draft, one of the top defensive players in the draft. And again, not a super sexy pick, but solid pickup for Cleveland. Plus, they get 2 picks in the second round. Plus, they pick up a first-round pick next year as well. So good things happening there in Cleveland. I think Genty goes to the Raiders. That was the popular pick all throughout this mock season. And right here at the end, everybody started saying, now, hold on a second. They love Membo, or they might be looking at Jalen Carter. And ultimately, they just go with what everybody thought they were going to do and get a playmaker in Ashton Genty. And again, I think good situation for Vegas.
Absolutely. That fits like a glove. You needed a runner. You got a runner. Your offensive line's okay. This makes them a little bit better. Geno Smith makes you a little bit better. Makes a ton of sense. Mason Graham in Cleveland, it's just a good pick. Like, it's not – my Twitter accounts, since I used to live in Cleveland, sees a lot of it. They don't love it because they wanted Travis Hunter. They wanted the dynamic playmaker. This eliminates the basic run up the middle threat, and it makes Myles Garrett's life easier. And now you got all those picks, like you mentioned. They are recovering after the Deshaun Watson, tomfoolery still. This is a long-term decision. I still like it.
And with 2 picks in the top 5 of the second round, we'll talk about them more here in just a few minutes. Let's see here. Armand Membo goes to the Jets, another pick that had been mocked for months, it seems like now. Good pickup for the Jets. Ted McMillan goes to the Panthers at 8. We talked about it on the program. A surprising pick to a degree, other than the fact that it's Carolina. Again, I don't know if we talked about this yet. I felt like Tyler Warren there would have been a better pickup than Ted McMillan. It still gives you the receiving help that you need. And, well, I don't know. I think just an overall better player, in my opinion. They go Ted McMillan, though, banking on the upside, I suppose, there.
I like Ted a little bit more than other guys. I didn't love him there because I think him and Xavier Legette are a lot of similarities. I think Ted can be more versatile. He can do a little bit of the Drake London. You could play him outside and move him a little bit because he's not super stiff as a board. They're going to go receiver. I would have preferred Matthew Golden or Emeka Ibuka. I think what they would have done would have fit a little bit better, more of that Z and H type receiver as opposed to a standard X. Or I agree, Tyler Warren, but they did bring in Jatavian Sanders, the tight end last year, so they might want to hold out on that a little bit. Offensive line would have been a good spot here. I still would have preferred edge. Jalen Walker would have been a really good pick there. I think that would have been my leaning, but I can't fault him for at least trying to give Bryce Young a weapon, even if I didn't love it for them. I like Tep, but not as much there.
Well, the other comp that he got a lot was Mike Evans, and obviously the coaching staff there coached Mike Evans. So if he is a good comp to Mike Evans, well, they know what to do with him. So we'll see if he can live up to that billing, though, of course. Kelvin Banks, again, his name had gone. He was way high at the beginning of the process, lower in the middle of the process, and started to rise here at the end again as well. He ends up going in the top 10. I think a solid pick. I think that when you look at the offensive tackles and those that can play left tackle in this draft, you were pretty limited, really, and maybe just to these top guys in Campbell and Banks. I'm not sure the other guys. We'll see. Simmons and Connerly and Ursary, who hasn't gone yet. Will they shake out to left tackle? We'll see. But Banks, again, a team that needs a lot of help. I think there's, you go through phases in the NFL, and it seems like everyone's starting to grasp the idea of, well, if we can have a good offensive line, maybe we can have some success. And so the Saints go there with Kelvin Banks. I wouldn't say huge surprise, but also when you're looking at guys on the board at that point, Jalen Carter is still on the board, Michael Williams still on the board, those kinds of things you're looking at going, well, interesting pick.
It was one of those, it's like, it's not a wrong pick. It's not a great pick, but it's not wrong. It's like you drafted a tackle last year, you drafted one this year. Once you figure everything out, at least you'll have some big boys out front, is what it feels like. They're reloading without admitting it, is what it feels like.
Let's see here. Chicago goes Colson, Loveland tight end. A lot of people had Tyler Warren mocked here to 10 if he dropped it there. But most people had Loveland and Warren pretty closely graded together. So it was a little bit of a surprise, but at the same time, I think most people said, hey, they got something that a lot of people thought they were going to get, and that was another weapon for Caleb Williams.
I would have preferred offensive line or edge personally. I think those would have made a little bit more sense. I love Colson Loveland. I've been driving his hype train. I wanted him to go a few spots later, but that worked out nicely. He's Sam Laporta to me is how I look at him.
Oh.
So you can split him out a little bit. You could play a little slot. Cole Kmet could be the block the defensive end. Colson Loveland could block a linebacker and a safety on the outside. It'll make sense. I think it makes a lot of sense. It simplifies things a lot, so Caleb hopefully gets the ball out of his hands quicker. Just tight ends are a young quarterback's best friend, and you got, in my opinion, an elite one.
Yeah, I said this on the Belly Up broadcast. As a Packer fan, it's a good pick. He's going to be a very good player. He could even be a bit of a problem, but this one doesn't hurt me as much as it would have. I thought Jalen Walker was a bear. I mean, it kind of goes back to the other Georgia linebacker that I can't believe I just forgot his name. That's in Baltimore now, Roquan Smith.
Yeah,
Roquan Smith. A lot of similarity, I think, there, and well, they passed on him this time around. Michael Williams goes to San Francisco, a San Francisco edge rusher that just makes sense, fits the Bosa mold in many ways. Great athlete, great ball player. He seemed pretty stoked about going to San Francisco too. So, we talked about Robert Saleh's back in San Francisco. So awesome fit there.
Absolutely. And the freakish long arms. He's got a nice piece of clay to mold there. And you're opposite Nick Bosa. Life gets pretty easy after a while.
Yeah. All right. Tyler Booker was a little bit of a surprise. The guard. I had Tyler Booker ranked high. I had him going to San Francisco in several mock drafts. On my big board, he was, I think, number 11 on the board. So I was high on Booker. It seemed like a lot of people were lower on Booker. But for Dallas, I have a hard time faulting a team for trying to get better at offensive line.
Exactly.
But I also sit there and go, man, there's so many options still at this point. It seems like there were a lot better options on the board than Tyler Booker.
This is where I wanted Ted McMillan to go because he could play that outside X role while CD does all of his CD things at the Z, the slot, etc. Understand he's gone. Matthew Golden got a lot of steam here, which would have made sense. Like you said, I can't fault offensive line. I think they wanted Kelvin Banks for one of those guys, but since they weren't there, they just took who they had as the best offensive lineman. But they already had a good offensive line. Like, you're making it even better now. So I guess Dak will not be touched next year. And it doesn't matter who's playing running back. They won't get touched for 40 yards either. So last time they did it was Travis Frederick when they took the center. And everyone's like, what are you doing? And they had the best offensive line unit for like 40 years. So can't fault them. They might be onto something.
Very good point. Miami goes Kenneth Grant. This was one of my least favorite picks. Really two back-to-back picks that I wasn't in love with. Kenneth Grant seems like a good player. Second best Michigan defensive lineman this year, which isn't always a bad thing. And again, I feel like there's so many needs in Miami. Defensive line's one of them, but I like Walter Nolan better. I like Derek Harmon better as well. But it seems like there were several people that were high on Kenneth Grant. And so, again, they get paid to find this talent, and I don't. So I could easily be wrong on this. I don't know. What are your thoughts with Miami going Kenneth Grant?
I like Kenneth Grant. It makes sense. Like, I have him, Walter Nolan, Derek Harmon kind of relatively similar. I like Nolan the best. I think he has the twitchy, like he's the twitchiest, the highest upside. I can't really fault him for it. It's the same way with Tyler Booker. But I would have preferred a secondary player like Nick Emmanwori, Malachi Starks. I know Will Johnson, which we'll probably talk about, but like he's sliding because of the knee. But I would have liked something kind of in that mold as a back-end playmaker, which is I think they really need. You lost Javon Holland. Jalen Ramsey doesn't really want to be there by the sounds of it. You need something to stop the Josh Allen in your division, the Drake May in your division. Not so much the Jets, I guess, but I mean, you need some secondary help.
Yeah, I had mocked Jahdae Barron going there. So I'm with you. I'm with you on that one for sure. All right, let's see here. Tyler Warren to Indianapolis. I had him trading up in my mock draft 4.0 to get Tyler Warren. I had them going with Colson Loveland at times as well. It just seemed like tight end in Indianapolis was the marriage that had to happen. And quite honestly, I think the Colts got pretty fortunate, not only to get a tight end, not only to get what I had ranked as the best tight end, but to get a guy that if you put him just in his uniform with the same number as Dallas Clark, I mean, there's some similarities to bring back some good memories. If only that you had Peyton Manning to throw to him. But Tyler Warren to Indianapolis seems like one of, and we'll talk about Jalen Carter in a second, or we can talk about it here too with the Falcons, the next pick, getting Jalen Walker. These two picks back to back were just like, my goodness, just, the football gods handing you someone that is perfect for your team.
I'd say these are two of the four best value picks. And we're talking like outside the top five because you're getting like just outside of those guys at the top. This is where I think, two of the four best first round picks were as far as value goes. Because I had Tyler Warren as player number 5 in my rankings. I had Colson Loveland at 7. When we did all the mocks, Tyler Warren was gone. So Colson Loveland to the Colts is what I had been hammering home. See him go to the Bears, my heart dropped a little bit.
Yeah.
But seeing Tyler Warren slip there, I think Loveland has a little bit more freaky athletic upside as a receiver, a little smoother, the Sam Laporta type, the Travis Kelce type, where Tyler Warren's not George Kittle, but a closer mold because he blocks a little better, but he's still not Kittle blocking. He's a weird mix. Maybe a lower upside, but he can literally take the snaps, and the Colts don't have a quarterback. So, I mean, he can literally play quarterback for him. So whoever the next quarterback is after the Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones experiment, it's going to have a plethora of weapons. Take Quinn Ewers in round 4. He'll figure out how to make it work. And then Jalen Walker, like we said, top 10 player, should have went to Carolina, in my opinion. Let him play almost purely edge in Atlanta. I think he's going to terrorize.
And it was heavily reported Atlanta was in love with James Pierce and Walter Nolan. And that was kind of the thought people thought they were going to go with at 15. They end up getting Jalen Walker, which is an amazing pick, a great opportunity for him. They trade back into the first round to get James Pierce Jr. also. So they get the guy they love, plus they get the guy they love that I'm assuming that they didn't think they were going to get. And they walk away with 2 edge rushers, and Walker can play inside and outside, so he can do a little bit of everything. I feel like Atlanta had a really, really good first round.
Absolutely. I think I don't want to say you get the best of the first round, because for most people it's one pick and you're cheating if you get 2 in theory, but like the fact that they had 2 first round picks and they hit on both of them, which is absolutely awesome. I think they needed both of those and they hit on both of them.
Let's see if we can keep this rolling. Walter Nolan goes 16 to the Cardinals. Shedeur Stewart to the Bengals 17. 2 defensive players that are freakishly athletic, and but some questions. Shedeur Stewart didn't have the stats, but everything seems to think. I mean, you just look at him, you go, he's going to work. Like, it's going to be just fine for him. Walter Nolan, again, some immaturity things, some different issues, but these 2 guys physically are incredible.
Walter Nolan he has the highest upside, arguably, of the D tackles, in my opinion. He could be the most disruptive. Shedeur Stewart, I'm just glad he didn't end up in Philadelphia. This would have been Nolan Smith all over again. Like, he has a very similar build, just with a little bit less street cred, because he wasn't as dominant in college.
Yeah.
I think 1 or so years learning from Trey Hendrickson, if he's able to learn, he's going to be a monster. He's so athletically gifted, and just refine some things, he's going to be dangerous.
Yeah. Seahawks did what everybody thought they were going to do. Interior offensive line. Gray Zabel falls to him. So that one was pretty easy. That's the last correct pick I had in my mock draft. Emeka Egbuka goes to Tampa. Now they've got a 4-headed monster if everybody's healthy, and they've got 2 receivers now for the future. They bring in the Washington receiver last year, Egbuka this year. Plus, they still have Godwin and Evans that are currently there, too. One of my favorite players in the draft this year is Egbuka. I'm excited to see how that, and I'm on the Baker train, so give Baker some more weapons. I like that. Jahdae Barron, Texas corner to Denver. Let's stop with those 3. Zabel, Egbuka, Barron. Thoughts on any of those guys?
The first 2, Zabel and Egbuka, outstanding. Love them both. Great fits, too. I think he's the all-time Ohio State leading receiver, but he's never been the number 1 receiver at Ohio State, which just shows how he just makes it happen. One way or another, it's just go do that. Good, done. He's outstanding, a pro's pro. Jahdae Barron, I am a huge fan of. I was a big fan of him. Denver's a weird fit. Unless they're going to use him as a safety nickel hybrid, then they'll find a way to use him. He's that good. It was just a weird fit, I guess. I had so many other things on my mind for Denver.
You're right. And I mean, they're being mocked to trade up, which is they're kind of known for. Nickelback makes the most sense here. Just when you look at their roster, they need a nickelback. And so if he's going to come in and play that hybrid role, and yeah, I think that's where he'll end up. We'll see how that one shakes down. The next couple picks, Derek Harmon, Steelers. I like Derek Harmon. I look at the Steelers and go, I think they're in win now mode. They're bringing in Aaron Rodgers more than likely to play quarterback. Then they need some running back help. They've got solid receivers, although supposedly Pickens is on the trade block right now too. Derek Harmon's that guy I feel like can kind of step in and play from day one, and they don't need them in the sense where they can rotate them out and things like that too. So I don't know. Are you surprised they didn't go quarterback Shedeur Sanders at 21?
Surprised they didn't go quarterback. Surprised they didn't go running back with Hampton and those guys there. I'm surprised they didn't try and trade back, like you mentioned. Offensive line's always a little bit shaky. Even safety, Minka Fitzpatrick's getting older. You could add some depth there. I don't know. He's a good player, and it's a Steelers pick. He's going to help them win right away next year. He's not going to cause them to lose any games. But this tells you Aaron Rodgers has them. He has them by the scruff right now. Like you're signing me, or you're in some trouble. So it's a good pick, but it's another weird pick. I don't love it but I like the player, so I can't complain.
Yeah. Let's see here. Omarion Hampton goes to the next pick to the Chargers, which I actually like it. I think it's good. I've heard him compared to Eckler, so it just, makes sense in Los Angeles. But of course, they're going to run the football. I like Najee Harris a lot too, even at where he is in his career, having Hampton there. And Hampton is a player that can catch the ball out of the backfield, no problem. So they add some weapons. They're going to get a receiver at some point, I'm sure, here, second round, third round, whatever. So they go playmaker Omarion Hampton. Packers go playmaker Matthew Golden. And I'm still trying to figure out if I like this or not. And the next show I have with my dad, we'll have a good conversation about it. But I know you like Golden. I had him ranked my number one receiver, but I still sit here at Green Bay and go, I don't like it. But to me, Hampton and Golden were both picks of almost luxury for these teams to a degree because they weren't dire needs, but it seems like it's going to make them better.
What's weird is when I look at Hampton, he reminds me of Najee Harris with an extra gear. Like they're both just big and can move and can catch the ball. Najee Harris is just slow as dirt, where Hampton could kind of crank it up another gear. So they're going to be fun, but I would have rather they flopped those picks if I'm being 100% honest. I wanted Golden to go to the Chargers because they need speed to let Justin Herbert unleash that arm. Their biggest issue last year is nobody went deep that you could trust because Johnston sometimes catches it, sometimes doesn't. It's a little erratic there. You have Ladd McConkey underneath, and I would have liked a Golden just to stretch the field, just to take the top off. Omarion Hampton's awesome, though. Can't complain. And I love Golden. In Green Bay, it's an interesting fit. Like I said, it would have been funny if they took Omarion Hampton to pair with Josh Jacobs, but it's another one where, they got a fast playmaker. I think the Christian Watson thing worries them just a touch because he has been very inconsistent health-wise. So I think that's almost all right, this is our guy that could take the top off if this doesn't work out. If not, we're going to go 5 wide, and they are all the exact same rating on Madden. So good luck covering them all.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe they're going to trade one of those guys. Maybe Dobbs I know there's some issues with Romeo Dobbs with last year. He had a day where he didn't show up to practice and he missed a game because of it. And there's a lot of questions of what was going on there. So there's a little bit there. And then Watson's health issues, maybe they end up moving on from one of those guys as well. We'll see. Let's see here. Donovan Jackson goes 24. I really like him. A little bit high for me for Donovan Jackson, but I do like him, and the Vikings needed interior help for sure. Then we had the trades. We already talked about Atlanta at 26 coming up to Los Angeles, but at 25, the Giants come up with Houston, and the big question was, okay, we know they're coming up for quarterback, but which one are they going for? And I was under the impression that Dayball was not a big Shedeur fan, but that Shone was. And everything that they said afterwards was no, Dart was their guy. They knew Dart was their guy. Dart said he had communicated with Dayball a ton until about 2 weeks ago, and all communication stopped. Ultimately, they take Jackson Dart, which I think might be a safer play than Shedeur Sanders, but I still am surprised that they didn't go with Shedeur Sanders.
Same. Shedeur, I compared him to Brock Purdy, which isn't in a bad way. Like, that's an accurate quarterback who can move a little bit, plays on time, gets the ball out quickly. Dart has a little bit more of that upside. He throws a really good deep ball. He gives his receivers a good chance. He throws not reckless 50-50 balls. I get they're more like 65-35s because they're well placed to where if it's not going to get caught, it's probably not going to get picked. I don't love the offense that he came out of at Ole Miss, but I think Dable has to know that. Like, he has to know that too. He's familiar with Lane Kiffin from his time at Alabama, I'm sure. They have a plan. I'm pretty sure Russ, Jameis are probably going to play more. I think that at this point they look at Jackson like, if we are lucky enough to keep our jobs after November, this is our guy. Because I think there's upside there. I wouldn't have hated if the Colts took him in the second round, honestly. I think there is something there. I do have that weird feeling. Like, I feel like Shedeur is better than his haters give credit for, but he's not quite as good as Well, he would tell you. So I think there's almost something in that middle, which makes me feel weird about it. But I can't really fault him. I feel bad for the Giants fans who are locked in on Shedeur, though.
Yeah. To me, Shedeur has the IQ and the mindset for the NFL. Does the talent match up? I mean, you look at his stats. Obviously, he had great stats in college. He was put in a position to succeed, no doubt about that. I think he's going to be successful in the NFL. I don't know if he's going to be a superstar. He'll have the sideshow that'll make him a superstar. But will his talent allow it to be? We'll see, and we'll see where he ends up. We'll talk about that more in just a second. Malachi Starks to the Ravens, love the pick. I would have loved him and Worry there also, but safety was a need in Baltimore. Either safety, they have Starks higher. Take him. I like that. Tyleik Williams to the Lions. Listen, it's
the dud of the first round, arguably.
Yeah, as a Packer fan, I'm happy with it. Love it. I think he's going to be fine. He's not going to be bad. He's going to be fine, but it didn't move the needle for me for Detroit. And if I'm a Detroit fan, I'm saying, why did I stay up until this pick if you're going to go Tyleik Williams?
Ezra Rocca was the play there to play opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. If that was me, or Landon Jackson, I want to pair someone opposite of him since the defensive tackle run had mostly gone, like the elite ones had gone. So that's, in my opinion, the dud of the first round. And that's not saying he's a bad player. It's just what they needed and what they got.
I agree. Josh Connerly goes to the Commanders. Maxwell Harrison to the Bills. And then a quick flip of picks. Eagles move up one pick and give up, I think, a 4th or 5th round pick as well to get up there. They got Jihad Campbell, which I think is an incredible pick for Philadelphia. The value at that level is absolutely nuts. You kind of talked about earlier, not wanting to see someone to slide down there to Philadelphia. Campbell does a little different kind of a player as far as more inside, but he can do a lot from there also. And Philadelphia, due to retirement and free agencies, they kind of got maybe not depleted, but they definitely got dinged a little bit on defense this offseason.
He could rush the passer. You could play him sideline to sideline. If Nakobe Dean still has health issues, he could fill that role. You'd sign Zach Bond, who was arguably a defensive player of the year last year, so he could play alongside him. You could rush. He could do so many things. It was literally, this was a luxury pick. Like when we made the graphic, it said depth. They could just have fun with whatever they wanted, really. They just looked as like, he's good. Let's take him.
Yeah. And they did. Josh Simmons goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. I had him ranked over Connerly, but not by a ton. Health is a little bit of an issue there. But when we got to the pick with Kansas City, we all agreed they have to take offensive linemen. The best one on the board, in their opinion, and I think in our opinion too, was Josh Simmons to try to take care of Patrick Mahomes. And we saw the Super Bowl. You just got to protect him, right? I mean, you got to take care of him. So
that pick fits like a glove.
Yes. All right. Into the second round tomorrow. Cleveland, or I guess when people are listening to this, it is today. Cleveland's got the 1st and the 4th pick in the second round. I assume they keep both. I assume they go quarterback at 33, the 1st overall pick in the second round, because why wait a few picks in case somebody else takes the one you want? And then I think at the 4th pick, they go either running back or wide receiver to give that quarterback some extra help as well. What are you thinking with Cleveland? I mean, they trade down, they get Mason Graham at 5, and they pick up this pick as well. So what do you think these two picks look like for Cleveland tomorrow?
The only questions I have is, who is the quarterback they like in this draft, if there is one? Like, is it Shedeur? Is it Jalen Milroe? Is it Will Howard? If it's Shedeur, then he's obviously going to be the one that takes her. If it's not, those other guys you can honestly wait on. I think you can get Will Howard in round 3 if that's what you're looking at.
Yeah.
So what, Matt, you can go like Quinshawn Judkins or Travion Henderson out of the gate, then Nick Emmanwori. Like they have some opportunities to do some damage, or they hate all the quarterbacks and they took that 1st round pick next year in hopes to trade up to get that guy. So they can. We're going to find out really quick, but they have an opportunity to get 2 really good players in those first 4 picks, like with arguable 1st round grades.
I mean, you got Kenny Pickett, which I know is not great, but he was a 1st round quarterback. So there's got to be something there. Stefanski's system works well for that kind of talent, I think. There's been all kinds of rumors that Cousins is still going to get traded to Cleveland, even though Flacco's there. I mean, if they're going to trade for Cousins, then they're not drafting a receiver or a quarterback, It wouldn't. I mean, it would just be weird to have Flacco, Cousins, Pickett, and then draft a quarterback here at this pick.
And then the Watson shadow looming over all of it.
Right.
On top. Like it's already getting crowded. So I'm very curious. We're going to learn a lot from that first pick, that pick number 33. We're going to learn a lot. If it is quarterback and it is Shedeur, then you take him right there. If it's anybody else, they're going to have quite the team when they get done with this, because they're going to be able to go Will Johnson perhaps there.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of fun they could have.
For sure. Vegas is at 5, New Orleans at 8, and the Jets at 10. Those are the other teams that I look at quarterback-wise would make sense for a quarterback. You've got Sanders. You've got Milroe, who's there in Green Bay. You've got Tyler Shuck, who's been rumored to be a first-round pick by some, which I never believed that. You get here to this second round now. Vegas, Geno Smith makes sense. Shedeur Sanders, Tom Brady makes sense. Shedeur Sanders, Pete Carroll honestly makes sense. Shedeur Sanders, you think about Carroll drafting Russell Wilson back in the day. Like, there's enough there that makes sense for Vegas and Shedeur Sanders. Is that where, if he gets past Cleveland, is Vegas where he ends up? Or do you think it's a New Orleans or the Jets or somebody else?
I'm biased. So like when we first started, I started doing mock draft Mondays on our show, I started with putting Shedeur there before Geno Smith, because that just made so much sense in the world. All the connections. You play inside, you play in the AFC West. Brock Bowers is the perfect weapon for his quick, get the ball at accuracy, break, that sort of thing. Have Ashton Genty, the run game to take some pressure off. Jacoby Myers is a pretty good Z-type receiver to get open, that sort of thing. They have everything in place. The Chip Kelly offense of just catch, read, pop, etc. So I think that's the one I'm biasly kind of wanted to go to, but I don't think they're looking in that direction. So I really don't know, honestly, with him. Like, if it's tough, because maybe he falls to the Steelers again. I don't know. Like, I hope he gets taken in the second round. I'll say that. I think he will. Someone might have to come up to get him, if that makes sense. I don't know if the teams up there are going to want him.
I'd be a little surprised if he makes it past the Jets. I would be very much surprised, actually, if he makes it past the Jets. And they got the 10th pick in the second round. It would be. I am a Justin Fields fan, and I think that. Yeah, I think the Jets should give him as much of an opportunity as possible. That being said, though, I mean, good night. Who knows? All right, best players available on my board: Will Johnson. We know there's injury issues. Emin Worry, the safety. Travion Henderson. Mike Green still on the board. We're going to get some receivers early. Jaden Higgins, Luther Burden are going to go early. Isaiah Bond may go early as well. Let's see here. Mason Taylor, tight end. Arroyo, the other tight end. A.Z. Thomas, a cornerback. Benjamin Morrison, Savon Revel in there as well. So there's a lot of good talent here. Edge rushers. Donovan Ezeraku is still there as well. So there's plenty of talent to load up this second round. And I'm interested to see, I don't know, do you think there's going to be a lot of movement at the top of the second round?
I think depending on what those first few picks go, like maybe once the Browns 2 picks are done, if they want to stick and take with those ones, then I think we can see movement. Like, let's say they take a quarterback and a running back, something unorthodox, like they say got Sanders and Henderson. Then that means Mike Green, Ezra Rocco, possibly Emin Warrior, the Will Johnson. That's where those players that everyone else is going to look at back. I want that. Like maybe Will Johnson, everyone sees Will Johnson, the Raiders as a fit because it's a need, the Michigan, all that. So they want to jump up there. So I think depending on what the Browns do with that first pick, if they do go quarterback, if they go elsewhere, that's where I think we could see a lot of movement for sure. And then I think in the middle is where we can start to see a little bit of movement too. Once those could have been first round guys go, but then there's a little bit of a gap between the third, fourth. So I think we'll see at least two trades in the top 12.
I like it. I think Green Bay makes a move. I think they go up to get an edge rusher as well, with having some of those guys up there and available also. In the second round, so you got Cleveland with 2 picks. They're the first and the fourth. You got Chicago with 2 picks, 7th and 9th. And you got Houston with 2 picks as well. They are the 2nd and 26th down there as well. So some multiple teams. Buffalo has 2 picks as well in the second round. So there's some guys with a lot of ammunition, and they're not going to give up probably one of their second round picks, but you never know. They move up a little bit to get up there. They can give up a second and a fourth, or a second and even a third maybe, and still have that other second round pick. A lot of fun things to do. So it was a fun night, Thursday night in round 1. And I think Friday is going to be absolutely phenomenal as well. DJ, you spent 4 hours talking on the show. You took a few extra minutes for us here. We sure appreciate it. Any major takeaway from Thursday night, or a big opinion, bold take going into round 2?
I'll say thank you so much for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure to come in here and recap a very, very fun first night of the draft. I think this was a very good first round. I think there's going to be fewer busts in this first round than we've seen. I know there were some questionable picks, but I think with a draft that wasn't so dependent on star power, even some of these ones like we talk about, like Tyleek with the Lions, etc., I think we're going to look back and like, he's a starter. He's fine. I don't think that we're going to see a lot of busts where it's like, oh, he stinks. I don't think we're going to see a lot of those. This draft, I feel like maybe if somebody at the top doesn't pan out just because of the nature of it, but I think this is going to just be a lot of good starters to some good, really good players, but I don't think there's going to be there's not going to be a lot of poop in this one. It's not going to be like 2013, I think it was, where like only one player panned out, and that was Lane Johnson. So I think this will be a good starters draft.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you're right. I think, I'm going to try to do a grades article at some point throughout the day on Friday and post it on bellyupsports.com. But I think if there's a bust, it's because of injury. I don't think it's because of talent. I think it's something that just never pans out for somebody because of injuries or something like that too. So
imagine
awesome. Well,
something outrageous too. Like say Ashton Genty turned into a bust. It's like, wait, how did this happen? It's like the most unlikely one is what it turns out to be.
Right, for sure. DJ hosts, co-hosts the High-Low Sports podcast. And again, he was the lead host there on the Belly Up Sports NFL Draft Show. You can catch that on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel, right where you can find this show as well from there. And you can find the High-Low Sports podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and as well on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel as well. DJ, thank you. It is officially 12:12 here where I sit today right now at this moment. So we're going to wrap this up. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Enjoy the rest of the draft. This is the Sports Stove podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Sports Stove. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy the rest of the draft.